And because, I guess society wanted like a more of an explanation, to be honest, man, like I'm just so over the whole, I can't be over the situation because, I'm still, you feel me? Like I'm still a heavily persecuted. You know what I'm saying? So I'm one of the main, like I can't, I wouldn't be surprised if I was the main target, you know what I'm saying, of all this evil. But it was a massive, egregious hate and racial hate, hate crime. Like, you know what I mean? As bad as I hate to admit it, that's what it was. It was a massive, extreme hate crime, and it was a race crime too. They don't understand. Like, I'm an eyewitness of what happened to me. You feel me? Like, I know what I've been through. You feel me? I wish things were different, but I got to just say it for what it is. I got to call it for what it is. And that's like, it's just so much, you know what I'm saying? There's so much that's happened, man. Like poetry is everything to me, man, because it was just during those times, that's all I had. All I had was poetry, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't good enough, but that's all I had. And that's what I was, an original artist. And they literally singled me out to destroy me, man, like absolutely to erase me from history. You know what I'm saying? They knew my talent, potential, things were way greater than whatever they were trying to, quote unquote, put a ceiling or lid on me over. You know what I'm saying? Like falsehood, they lie on you in order to be able to discourage people from your contribution or lessen your appeal while everybody distracted with other things going on, quote unquote, like other art and all that kind of stuff. Then that's when they're on the low, open season on you. I lived that, you know what I'm saying? That's what, you know what I'm saying? I know. And you understand, this whole thing was massive, man, and it was premeditated. So I remember back in 14, certain people that I told people, man, like, you know what I'm saying? I got tons of recordings about this, about my life, things I've gone through. I'm like, they put certain people in positions at certain times to carry out this massive crime. So the things that happened in 16, 17, 18, that was happening covertly and quote unquote inadvertently, that was, that was like the precursor. That was what happened like in 14, the thing, like where it first was sparked off like an intentional direct hunting, like open season, officially and formally, and informally, formally, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? That what was happening, like that was the moment when it first got lit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when I guess somebody made a decision, that's when they gonna do it. They gonna destroy me in the next couple of years. And prior to that, they had already knew about me because they seen God's power on my life at some point. So they knew that I was anointed, and they knew that I had a talent, and they knew that I was going to be great impact for God. And Satan got in them to destroy that. But they was already on my life though years before. I just didn't know that. You feel me? Like they was already watching me illegally and stalking me and things like that. With the intention of, destroying, if I show or display any signs of being a great, being a legend for God, being, being an impact for God. If I show any signs, they would destroy me. And that happened. I showed signs, and then that's when, these tactics and things, they started doing, all types of things, man, every form from corner weapons to, poisonous gases to, injections and, like all these kind of things were happening on the low, right in plain sight. And God knows who knew about it, but if everybody knew about it, then of course we know what the Revelation say. But that's the situation. They used, I sat there and witnessed it. They used, the arrangements, like, when people transfer, like with the transference of power and things in society, they used that for immunity to get away with the crime they started a short time before that even happened. And I was a target of it. So they used that to blend in. So when things like this, I'm an eyewitness. I know what I went through, what I'm saying? Like the jealous, like it's witches and things like that. They was also involved, and it wasn't an isolated event, what I'm saying? When everybody's attention was elsewhere, then, even those that's supposed to have been on your side, what I'm saying? They, it's like some of them had turned and they flipped around, and just went crazy over me, what I'm saying? They started sending all they goons or whatever, they people, it was all on me against something they knew wasn't true before they even did it. See, that's the problem. They already knew that it wasn't true, wasn't no substance to it. You know what I'm saying? So, but they didn't care. They had already been watching it, premeditated it for years before. So when the time came and they knew I was of age to be able to, or I appeared to be of age to be able to, I embrace my skill, my talent, pamper it, water it, become, where it grow and expand for God impact. When they seen that, they knew that, then that's when, they moved and did all this. But yeah, it was a premeditated thing. Like they used the transference of power back then, as immunity, to position certain people, places, and things to be able to facilitate this large conspiracy of evil, And that's what happened. It was never a fair situation. I was outnumbered from the beginning. I couldn't, there's no way possible I could defend myself. I didn't even fight according to the same things. So I fought, according to the scripture and, God and prayer. God did the fighting. And that's why it was so many natural disasters happening. It wasn't that, it was supernatural. God was angry, you feel me, with the evil that was happening on the low, because I'm me, and God is God. And if they don't believe me, then they believe they can see the works, if anything, you look at the works, And so, I really, at that point, I think we're past that though. We're past, the debate stage with that. My thing is this whole situation, like with like recent times with my livelihoods, man, my means of being able to say that I did something myself. I earned something myself, not getting a handout, not, anything. That's what they're attacking. Like, they want you to rely on somebody else. That way you could be controlled and manipulated. They don't want you to have your own. And I would, as good as I'm doing and been doing, recently and things, and then for something like this to happen out the blue over something, they lied on me. The structures lied on me just recently, like probably a week ago. They lied on me to be able to destroy my sustainability. And it worked, because I'm sitting, like I have no sustainability right now because they lied on me with something that I showed the world. It showed the world that I had proof of doing, And they said I didn't do that, which resulted in the suspension of my sustainability. In spite of, global and national proof that, it was a lie. And that's the situation, that they can lie on you on those levels. They are the Antichrist Baphomet. Make no mistakes about it. They are the place that's been talked about in Revelations, in the final books of Revelation. In the end, God, trust me, God go fix it. But as of right now, you see the foundations, You see what lead up to that point, situations like this. And so it's like, for me knowing what I already been through all these years, all the places, all the secret stuff that even I haven't even been able to write, and also the things that I have read, and everybody's seen it while at the point in time when I wrote it and brought it to the public. Everybody had seen it, everybody paid attention to it, everybody understood it. But then all of a sudden it's like nobody, says, like, remembers, or, I don't know, like, it's weird. But I made sure though, because that was my only means. That was my desperation, trying to get help for myself, like a child. You feel me? Like a child that's in the midst of some hateful place. Imagine your little toddler, in the midst of, like, I don't know, a wolf den or something, and being, being threatened, eaten, and stuff like that, and the only cry you got is, maybe, a couple platforms, social media. Then if you good with poetry, you can use your talent. They try to discredit your talent to get people from paying attention to the things you were saying. But anybody who's seen the things I said, I was also on the scene simultaneously with my quotes disproving everything they were saying. So it was no excuse, for anything that had gotten this bad. And me knowing what I had already been through, then, I'm seeing, then to see things like this happen now, it's like, it's just incomprehensible. Because I know all the reports, all the truth, all my testimony, I know who paid attention, who didn't see it, who saw it, it's me knowing, what I've been through. And for something like this to still be possibly happen within the borders, but any extent, knowing who knows about it, everybody that should know about it. And they've been knew about it for over 3 years already. So for the crime to still happen, aspects of it, so I should, be given the nature and the gravity of my persecution, my wrongful persecution, with the proof and evidence, pretty much preponderance to go for it, then it should be some type of accommodation, for the gravity of the situation, or the gravity of the nature. So things like my sustainability and stuff like that should be secured by all means. you know what I'm saying, in a civil society. It's an antichrist. It's not under God. You know, if something like this could still happen, it's impossible. And I guess we established that a while back, but that's just the truth of the matter. So you got the influences, they you know what I'm saying, they join together to protect the lie. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's different reasons as to why they say, you know, they trying to protect that lie. You know, they trying to save somebody's face, if you feel me. So, I mean, I go more into that if this proceed. But I'm just thinking, like, I mean, for me to know this, you know, but for me to, you know, have gone through what I've gone through, and then for such thing to still be happening to this time, you know, this moment is like, you know, it's mind boggling. You feel me? Because last thing I ever want to do is rely on somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a part of the conspiracy that started in 2014, where I called it back then. You know what I'm saying? Even before, it was premeditated longer than that. That's a part of the conspiracy itself. So they allowing this crime to continue in plain sight with everybody, even justices and stuff know. So they're allowing this corporate evil demon crime on high levels to continue in these minute, sneaky, you know, inadvertent little ways here and there. You feel me? It's sporadic, and I know the nature of it because I've been going through it for so long. So I know the tactics and the mechanics of it, and it's a crime that it's like chess moves. They do certain things, allow certain things here and there to have a result to have a certain result in the end. This whole time I'm blameless. You know what I'm saying? I did nothing but follow God. That's why people see God's power in my life, because God knows God been there the whole time. And that's how, you know, that's why I am who I am. Because I mean, it's not a fairy tale, it's not fiction, it's not no scam ploy, nothing. You know, so this is just the life of one man for following Christianity in America. You know what I'm saying? For being a Christian, this is what I have gone through. You know what I'm saying? I was already marked not long after I was born. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing I did. It was just because of the content. It wasn't the content of my character, but it was just the appearance of my appearance. If you feel me, I mean, not nothing I could, but then it also blended with people that were sold out, so they didn't care anyway. They were trying to get, you know, they didn't care about the prophecy. They didn't care about God. They didn't care about Eli. They didn't care about the light. They didn't care about what's right. You know what I'm saying? They said, forget it. They step on God to gain some kind of increase. You know, so yeah, of course they going to hell, no doubt. But I mean, in the land of the living right now, I ain't got nothing else I could talk about. You know. And that was their intention of allowing this situation to drag out like it did. You know, so it's like they literally, you know, had nullified all of a person's right for no reason other than their talent, you know what I'm saying, their color, and, you know, just their faith, you know. And this is something that's proven. So upon it, you know, being shown, made manifest, the last thing that you would expect to happen is for it to keep happening. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was proven like 3 years ago already, you know? And then even more so in this year, because this year it's been like everybody been seeing everything. So it's like all this stuff they do without your knowledge. Like they put you, they have so many people around you, you know, they distorting the perspective of you. They telling people things that's not true about you. They tell it, they're lying on you, saying that you're, you know, with them and this and that, and it's just a lot of things that they do, and you're never notified about anything. So you don't know what anybody has said about you. You feel me? You don't know who said and you know the roles they put you in without your knowledge and things like that. They do that to save face, like they doing that to, you know, to cover their tracks and bury the hatchet. So they do all this stuff to you, then they lie to everybody without you being informed. But because they know you know what happened to you, but nobody else, you know what I'm saying? Not many others know, but they tell everybody else they tell the majority, you know, these falsehoods about you and things, I guess in hopes that you will conform to their will later. You know what I'm saying? Going through what I have is impossible. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course, through God, you know, you forgive. I got forgiveness. You know, I forgive because I have to. You know, but it's like, you're not stupid enough, you know what I'm saying, to put yourself in a position where, you know what I'm saying, you can be further destroyed than that. And that's what they're doing. They're allowing these crimes. It's like through negligence, they're coercing you to certain influential figures who already don't have your best interest in mind because of what you already personally witnessed them take you through not too long ago. You know, brutal, merciless, you know, hateful stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, when I realized what was going on, I pretty much did the best I could. I was like, okay, these people think I'm doing this, people think I'm doing that. So I'm like, okay, then so I could drop some legendary stuff, some classic stuff. Like, okay, if somebody think I'm mulching on for like somebody else's something or whatever, literary devices or something. I mean, for me thinking, knowing that's asinine. You know what I'm saying? That's asinine. That's so beneath my character. You know, me knowing that personally, but for some reason everybody else don't. So I'm like, okay, when I show them this, then they gonna know better. And so I can drop some classic stuff and they'll sit there and look at it like, yeah, we was wrong. But does it stop? Nope. You know what I'm saying? And that was the problem. Like, they sit there, they could see me, they could see me disproving their stuff. But then I didn't realize that it was just them. It was, you know what I'm saying? They had me like pretty much like quarantined in a way. The most you could do with hands off, you feel me? And they had me like that, like quarantine, had my perspective, reputations, everything was being distorted to their will and to their framing, while they secretly destroyed me while everybody else believed in these false things. So it was a massive, elaborate, and thorough, conspiracy of evil. And I mean, anybody who went through this will be past, the point of outrage. Like, it's not a word to describe the pain, the grief, the torment, the suffering. And then when you couple that, it was all for no reason. Then you look at my talent, then you can see clearly that that's the reason why they doing this. Then you could easily draw a connection. I'm like, they have nothing. They literally, I guess they drafted as the unwritten rules broken. You feel me? Or something like that. I don't know. But they allowed this stuff to happen to somebody for following the Lord in a place under God. And, haven't, edited the statutes and the standards to accommodate Satan, you feel me? Because that's who is following for allowing this all this time. You know what I'm saying? And I can personally vouch who paid attention to, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, so then that's when they draft other people and things and places and nouns and stuff, to the equation. You know what I'm saying? For like to cover themselves in an event that the truth like this get out. You know what I'm saying? So then they threaten you with other things, you know what I'm saying? It's not bound to society. So it's all massive conspiracy, massive race crime. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as bad as I hate it, because me personally, it ain't no racist bone in my body. You know what I'm saying? I love all races because God created everybody. I'm colorblind. I didn't even know this was a factor, until, you know what I'm saying, I learned more about, not only the lands, but also the persecutions and the things that were happening when so I mean, then of course it all tied with the scripture perfectly. Because Jesus said a time like this will happen. And it's going to get worse because God go to declare war on the world in the future. But right now, it's like, this all I really, this is all I have known, since I've been in earth, being heavily, heavily persecuted for just existing, for just existing, like, and then seeing they can't liken my situation to nobody else because, so it's people that they use like activists and people like that the same thing happens. I'm like, no, it's not the same situation. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have my level of talent. You feel me? They didn't have my literary abilities. You know what I'm saying? There's no comparison. You feel me? They don't have my godly impact because the difference is, some people with that, but with me, I stood firmly in the things and the statutes of the Bible the whole time. I ain't switch it up like duplicity, like, having, got my cross and my gun. It wasn't nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I was with my cross and my Bible the whole time. Everybody that was doing it saw it the whole time. Everybody that it got reported to in high levels and stuff, they saw it the whole time. My situation is like, it's one of the strangest things that ever happened in this country. Like, this is weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole time they seen that I was following the Lord. Everybody involved and everybody that witnessed. I've been a star. I was getting just like 60 to 80,000 hits a day in 2016 alone. Before that, I was getting tons of reads on my platform, my lesser known platforms. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been on the scene, man. You feel me? From the underground all the way up. And that's been the situation. My people that love my stuff, they Christians. You know what I'm saying? So, unless you in Babylon be attacking Christians, they already have, they just do it in a non-indiscreet way. Like, they attack Christians from in other places as payback against God for exposing their satanic will and demon tactics and fake inauthenticity. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they get revenge against, God, his prophets and things, against something that they did. And that's what the Bible says. A fool rages at God for destroying their own life. You feel me? And that's what you're seeing in plain sight over something decision that they made themselves that sabotage not only their own, spiritual, their spiritual liberation, but also it sabotage the lands forever. They just don't realize on spiritual levels, because something that this happened to that disagrees. I know it's a lot of bad stuff that's probably happened, you know what I'm saying? But this right here, you know what I'm saying? This is not the same kind of situation. You feel me? This is not the same kind of situation. Like, in its entirety is not the same. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who cared and they looked into my life from all the way from, my incarnation, 1994, all the way to now, they gonna realize a whole lot of messed up, strange things. That's why, but that ain't even necessary. Just the last 3 years alone, you know what I'm saying? Anybody who cared about what's right, you know what I'm saying? They look at that and they'll see for themselves. But yes, the situation, it ain't never been fair, And then for me to still be in positions like this, it right there shows the reality of the situation. Like, it's not, like, it's strange. And this is, to this day, I'm still blameless, And that's why people see God's power on my life like that, every day, So, it's all I know. All I know is, this being attacked secretly, covertly, overtly. This been happening the whole time, like a straight timeline, no breaks, And this whole time I've been doing the same thing I've been doing all along, Holy Bible, prayer, and, just fellowshipping with God and, using my art, to inspire, encourage, also to inform the world about the times in which we live in. I got these recordings, tons of them. Tons of quotes, man. I've got my I got my wide recap of my poems, my micro poetry, as well as my quotes. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that's coming along now. I want to pretty much just a recap of, like, who I am, you know what I'm saying, and what I am, in God. So, man, it's all, self-explanatory. The end is in perspective. But, platforms, man. I need more platforms, and they try to, they still be targeting my stuff. It's things I done taught and spoke on so many times. It's just like what it takes. They destroy your sustainability to destroy your means to be able to like maintain your platform for your original work. So it's a roundabout way of attacking somebody's constitutional right, freedom of expression directly. You know what I'm saying? Like, directly in plain sight, and they allowed it after they've been notified for over 3 years already. You know what I'm saying? And then they see clearly with the substance and the content of my work that there is no, there is no. So they did try to finesse me, I ain't gonna lie. So, of course, the love, the love that, I had shown to certain places, I withdraw that, you feel me? Like, I withdraw that, withdraw it forever. But because that's, they repay you evil for good. That's in the Bible. And that's what they did to me. Certain places, geographic locations and things, even within the borders, they twisted things up on purpose. But what I didn't know at the time when that happened, when I first noticed that, what I didn't know was that it was a part of a long premeditated situation that started, like way back it could have been the late 90s, early 2000s, and then consistently throughout that. And that's when it originally started, way back then. I got scoped, I was scouted, and then I became somebody mammy scam. You know what I'm saying? And then that's another reason why all the covert murderous attacks and techniques were being dealt to me before I even knew, what the fullness of life was. You feel me? This is what I've known. This is what it is. It's unfair, and it's against somebody for being an artist. That's, that's like one of the unheard of, unwritten rules in society. You don't do that for somebody being an artist. You know what I'm saying? You got people that express art and they fine no matter what they say. You feel me? But I'm talking about God and my stuff, and then I'm getting brutally, brutally just destroyed, every year, all year long, to the point where all I know is trauma and, being attacked and pain. All I know is injury, But then they would use that in itself to destroy my sustainability. You see This is an extreme hateful crime. You know, like they have no. It's like they treat. You know, they have no reverence for God. Period. No fear for God on high levels. They hate God. They hate Jesus. You know what I'm saying? They hate Christians on high levels. They hate humans. You know what I'm saying? They hate humans, man. They don't like humans. But see, me, I was pro-life. You know what I'm saying? I'm the good one. I'm on the good side. You know what I'm saying? I've been fighting for the good all these years, even secretly, you know. And by secretly, I mean just with my poetry. I'm talking about the truth and it breaks strongholds. You know, it's awesome. But I mean, well, it's all I know. And this is who I am, you know. I'm an artist.